think we're about to start. It's not tournament standard. It's my standard. So let's go.
Come on. Live from the classics, back from the masses. Shadow of a titan with the swagger of a maverick. Live and direct, mind in a sec. With the rhymes I collide and divide and connect. I ain't got nothing to lose, I'm too strong. But you got something to prove or move on. I've been stuck playing this game for too long. So I'ma speak up when my mic is switched on.
Oh my God, what a sick round! The end of the round in both those rounds was crazy.
What's up, guys, and welcome to Rushdown Live, Episode 1, Footsies and Character Selection with Alex Valle. So if this is day one, man, I'm really happy to get this show going because if you guys have checked out some of our earlier stuff, I tried to do this back when we first started. We weren't even level up yet. It was shout outs to GYT and AJ for trying to present a show way back in the days. But I think it's time, to try to get that information out there, and so let's rock it. But before I give you all that sweet knowledge, just for you guys that just met me, thought I just popped out at Street Fighter 4 and saw a couple YouTube videos, it's time to go back to memory lane. So yes, I am Alex Cali Power Valle. Been playing competitively, meaning in the tournament scene since really like 95. I've been playing Street Fighter since like 1992, but I mean that's before knowing the whole big competitive craze out there that there was even tournaments existed. So, but yeah, I think this information is really important for you guys because I think we can some of you might identify how I started, and for those new watching, you can kind of tell like, oh, this is how the I guess arcade new player transitioned into the next gen systems and all that other stuff. So, but here it goes. In '92. The first character I picked in Street Fighter 2 World Warrior was Chun-Li. And reason being is because nobody knew the moves, and she had one of the moves that you can just push the buttons really fast and you get the special. So there's no move list back there. Internet wasn't around. 1992, mind you, playing World Warrior. So yeah, just trying to beat the computer with Chun-Li, and eventually I did. That was that. And a lot of other players as well. Like I would see some empty machines or people waiting for somebody that's been challenging somebody all day. Try to play alone because they kind of feel embarrassed not knowing how to play the game properly or whatnot, or they just wanted to beat the computer. That's how it was. Like before fighting games in the arcade, it was you versus computer, or you trying to get the highest points, right? But Street Fighters, I would, say it's one of the games that brought everybody together to play, together, and in the arcade at least. I mean, besides some of the sports games and the other shooter type games, but I think Street Fighter is the one that really got that addiction out. So. Moving on from Chun-Li, I use Ken. I didn't use Ryu because everybody picked, well, you couldn't pick the same characters, right? And everybody was always had first player side or the best guys, whatever, and they picked Ryu or Guile back then. So I picked Ken, and still did not know what I was doing, like trying to figure out the special moves, and people finally told me. And mind you, I was only 13 back then. So, you can imagine. So, Super, Street Fighter 2 World Warrior. I learned very minimal about that game, except that Guile and Dawson were the best. There's just people that were way too good with those characters, and they prevented you from playing, and because nobody knew about like real strategy. You just fell for everything they did, and they were just too good. It wasn't until like Champion Edition where I finally started to meet some people that would go to different arcades or different liquor stores and kind of like catch the wind of like, hey, have you played this crazy Vega player? Like you would think like, how is Vega gonna jump off the the wall without like the gates? Because you would only play Vega in his stage, right? But when Champion Edition came out, he actually flew off the walls. And so I was curious to find out like where are all these good players. I was a kid and I loved the game, and I was hungry to find out like if I can beat them. And about that time I started to do like the jump fierce uppercut combos. So I can do like some combos now, and I'm pretty decent, or at least in my world. And so here I go. I go to different like 7-Elevens and anywhere kind of near my house, because I'm like riding a bike or taking the bus, and it's like I'm still kind of relatively young. I didn't have a car then, but it was just meeting new people from different high schools or different colleges, or even way older people than I was, just playing characters that you would think normally would suck. Like I thought, Vega sucked in Champion Edition. I mean, well, you understand who ended up being the best, like Guile and Bison and Ryu, but the way that this person played with a character I thought sucked kind of opened my eyes. Like, damn, there's actually people that are putting in some time and different characters that you wouldn't think aren't good at all. And Blanca too is like, what the hell? Blanca loses like 50% if you can hit his ball, right? But in Champion it changed. He doesn't lose as much, but he had other little tricks too, like instant stop ball and all the other stuff. So, yeah, that was Champion Edition, and I still kind of didn't enter any tournaments yet. It was just people doing some pretty good combos and some strategies and stuff, but I didn't know about the tournament world yet. So it's I guess it was my first Street Fighter where I kind of learned the very, very basics of strategy and combos. Street Fighter 2 World War, I was still too young. I didn't really grasp like what people were doing with Guile yet and all that craziness. I just like got beat up by that. But yeah, that was Champion Edition. I actually started getting a little better that I thought out of. But after Champion Edition, I didn't really play hyper fighting much. I went to Peru. I went back. That's where I'm from, Lima, Peru, to visit family, and I came back, and I was kind of like, focused back into school a bit. I was always into school, but that's what I did back then. I would go to school, play basketball, shoot pool, play Street Fighter. In the 90s, it was you can be a jock, nerd, gangbanger. It was gang activity. Gang activity was really high in the 90s. A lot of my friends were in that, causing mischief, but I was like one of the nerds playing the games, and I was all right. But yeah, didn't play hyper fighting much, and Super Street Fighter came out, and like that actually brought more people back into the arcades that I saw. I know Champion Edition brought a lot of people in there and stuff, but Super Street Fighter for sure got curiosity back, because like the graphics are really great back then. You're like, wow, these characters are doing all these like, fancy looking moves now, and combos are crazier, and but then still I think I've only been around one other tournament like around Super Street Fighter, but I still wasn't even that good yet, because the people, the same people I was losing to, like, would only go to specific tournaments. Like they already knew which tournaments were around that area. I mean, you can imagine, the internet wasn't around yet again, so how would you find all this stuff up? So, like I was just like, man, these guys have like all this information. I don't even how are they doing all this stuff? So, anyways, so I didn't really do much in Super, and even Super Turbo came out. I had some fun with that, but like I played a lot of other games, like what Mortal Kombat was out. I think the King of Fighters. So anything that was like near, like a fighting game that I played. I even tried like Tekken, even the first one, the old school one, Tekken 2. But the Street Fighter is always the game that I played the most, and so Alpha One. Now, that was the game where that it just made complete sense to me. I don't know what it was. It's just besides Ken being really good, and Ken was like my favorite character at the time still. Uh, and it was just, man, you can air block. You don't die in like one combo anymore. Well, at least the earlier versions of the combos. So you just have a lot more breathing room. And I got really good at that game really fast. I just understood it. It was like that. And then on my way of getting better at this game, I had my good friend Tao Duong. Uh, like he used to play at the arcade that I play at, and he was like my best competition. Like it was just me and him going back to back. But he would tell me like, "Hey man, there's these guys from like LA that play on these really big tournaments, and maybe you should play them. Are you even allowed to go down there?" Or I'm like, I think I'm what 15ish, 16 now. So are you allowed to go back down there? I'm like, I don't know, maybe. So this is like a matter of trying to schedule something. But he instead just said, hey, you know what? I'll just bring him down to the arcade one day, and some of the players to the arcade one day, and see how you do. And he called up Mike Watson, and he's all like, this is the conversation that happened between them. It was more like Tao, right? This is how he sounds. Hey man, there's this Mexican guy in this arcade that thinks he's pretty good. Maybe you should play him. He's saying that Watson's like, yeah, all right, I'll go down there and play him and just see what's up. And the arcade that I used to play at a lot was called Beach and Warner. It was in Huntington Beach, Southern California, and this wasn't Golfland yet. I didn't go to Golfland yet, so I just remember Watson was at the machine already. Tao took me to the arcade to meet up with him, and this was like the introduction. There's like me walking to the machine, and I look at him, and I'm like, what's up? And he looks at me, he's all, so that's it. There's no shaking hands. There's no like, hey, how are you? My name is all this. None of that was around. No. there was no sugarcoating this, man. This is straight up like, you don't shake hands with the enemy. You don't shake hands with the threat. You don't shake hands with anybody. It's just, you just want to beat the guy down. And that was the mentality then. And so I put my quarter in, I play him, and he picked Guy, I pick Ken. And like when I picked Ken, he kind of like chuckled a little bit, right? Like he knew something already. Like he knew, like that was probably his character, which was Ken was his best character. Like Mike and John Choi were like arguably the best two players in that game. But so we play, and I just get rolled. It was, he was doing these stupid guy combos, the redizzies and all this stuff, and I didn't even know what the hell was going on, dude. Like, he wouldn't let me jump in when I wanted to. He wouldn't let me just get near him without like him losing only a little bit of life, and I would risk it all because I just want to do the flash. I want to land a combo. I want him to play my game, but he never let me. And I couldn't beat him at all. I was, damn, this guy just freaking destroyed me in my own arcade. How does that feel? If that's you, you feel me. When like if Justin went to your arcade, or Arturo or Eddie Lee, the old school guys, just owned you up. So then after the fact, after like he got his beat downs and everything, then he's all like, hey, you're all right. And I'm trying to remember what he said. Like he was actually he opened up more because like he established his presence there already, right? So proved his friend Tao Duong wrong. Okay, he just proved him wrong, and it was just history from there. Like he just said, hey, if you want to play, just if you want to play more, you should come out to Pac-Man Arcade or this place actually closer to your house, Southern Hills Golfland. This has introduced me to the Golfland over there. And I was like, yeah, that's cool, man. And I also got introduced to Jeff Schaefer, also another one of the greats back then. He was the original Turtle in Street Fighter. So he's a Turtle player, but very effective. He could also play very aggressive. But Jeff Schaefer actually lived closer to me, and Jeff and Tao were friends. They're all a circle of friends. I didn't know that until like after I met each of them individually. Then I found out like they all knew each other. So it was like I felt like I was set up or something. Like they knew the community, and I was just like some scrub kid trying to like hang with the big boys or something. But yeah, man, like I from there was history. I was playing every day with Jeff and Tao, and whenever Mike came down, and I guess I was doing better because they started to invite me to certain tournaments, and it got to a point where they said if I can go to Las Vegas for and I'm freaking going on 17, I think. All right, and damn, it's I'm like, all right, whatever. You know what? I'm gonna go. I don't have any money to go. Like I'm a freaking high school kid, right? I'm not really hustling then. I'm not just gonna randomly ask my parents, hey, can I get like $100 or something, But I had to save up for this thing, like allowances or little side jobs or whatever, like paper routes that I did. But yeah. Anyways, I brought only like I think $80 with me to this Vegas trip. I just told my parents like, hey, I'm going to spend a night at my friend's house for the weekend or whatever. And like, yeah, okay. My parents were really cool about it because they trust that I came home at a respectable time from the arcades, so they let me out. Yeah, this tournament was if you guys go to karapi.com and that's a bot painter site. It actually shows bios for some of the well-known top players, United States, and I think it even has Daigo on there too, and maybe another Japanese guy. But you can find like myself, John Choi in there, and many others in this site. But you go in the bio section, he actually has some of like the most notable old school big tournaments rankings, or not rankings, I'm sorry, placements. So if you go there and you look under my bio, that one tournament was, it says AGSF SF2, AGSF to All Games SF2 tournament. I didn't know that tournament was organized by them. I didn't know that news group existed, this community. The internet age, right? People are starting to get into internet around 95-ish, 96, I guess, or maybe even before that, these rich guys. But so I'm going to this Vegas tournament. Okay, I go with Mike and Tao and them, and even before like this tournament was in Circus, by the way, and it was I think it was organized. Well, it was in APOC. If you guys know who APOC is old school Las Vegas Street Fighter player. Actually, he is from California, but he moved to Las Vegas a long time ago. But I think it was organized by him and some others. But mind me, for lack of remembering, this was a long time ago. But anyways, the day before tournament, Mike and I are playing, just practicing, and we were playing on like a beat up machine, and like I don't know what it was with him, about like being angry with people randomly. I thought like we were like already starting to get along, and like it's just, I guess there's like a rush. And I was more of a happier-go-lucky person back in the 90s. Like I didn't really have any animosity towards people. If I didn't like somebody, I didn't talk to them. I let my game speak for itself, or whatever. But Mike was the dude that just let you know how he felt like right there and then. You would think that he's like from the East Coast just by his how outspoken he is about this stuff, but like he's one of the biggest trash talkers in the West Coast that's that's still around. But so we're practicing, and like all of a sudden he goes, "Hey man, why don't you let's make this interesting? Yeah, instead of just like practicing, why don't you pick my character at random select or something, and we'll play for like $20 or something." This is already money matching me. I'm like freaking 16 years old. Like, all right. I'm like, you know what? To keep it fair, I'll tell him I'll random select too, because I'm starting to learn the game. The game is like Alpha 1. There's a lot of chain combos. Like, you can figure out all the characters chain combo. So like, I actually had a chip on my shoulder this time because I think I was at the age that now I'm starting to figure things out, especially versus top level play, and we both get. I kind of botched this story up. He wanted to play me Dan in Alpha 1. He had some secret tech with Dan, and I'm like, forget Dan. You know what? Let's do random select. That's what happened. And so we both random select, and we both got like Sagat or something, and I happen to win, but his controller was like jacked up, and his thing was like to like shake the controller, try to get the attendants or the whoever was fixing machines their attention so they can fix it right in front of them. So he would like shake the machine, punch it, and just like, hey man, this machine sucks, man. This is garbage. What the freak's going on? And I'm like, damn man, this guy's got some crazy ass temper. I'm laughing the whole way, but like, I was starting to see more of Mike's personality, how he is, like, I guess just competitively. Like, he is super duper competitively back then. Competitive, and so was I, but not to to tell you straight to your face that you like suck or anything like that. Well, not yet. I kind of turned away a little bit, but yeah, man. So I saw that, and like I was just thinking about that all night before the tournament. I was like, so do I have to hype myself up? Do I have to go through all this craziness, man? This is new to me, like I thought just playing the games, having fun and beating the guy was like enough, but I guess there's more to it. It's like you really have to have a mindset of like that there's no way that guy is going to beat you. There's this, like, if you don't get first place, dude, you're trash. that was the mindset. So yeah, moving it along, I just thought I'd bring that up because this is kind of like what developed me as a player, because I if you don't meet people that can influence you in a certain way, that can help your game, it might be a little harder for you to kind of move forward from here, so or from them. And so yeah, I got fourth in that tournament. It was my first tournament. I ran out of money before even getting to semis. I played John Choi for the first time in that Vegas tournament, and he destroyed me. He pretty much did what Watson did. He didn't let me have my fun. He just sat there, like a turtle, man. He just did what he had to do, and he knew my style already, and he beat me. But like, it was funny because before getting even up to like semis, I ran out of money, so I had to like talk to people or like that actually were cheering me on because I was that underdog that nobody saw before. And they were like, yeah, all right, here, man, here's a quarter, go so you can play your match. So you had to pay for your own games in each match. So yeah, it was and shout outs to them if they're watching, man. Thank you for each one of your quarters back in the days. But yeah, I got fourth in that tournament, and that was like my first go on a tournament of that scale. I mean, they had awesome players there. You had Choi, you had Watson, you had Tony No over there, Schaefer, APOC, a lot of top players that even that I didn't know of yet that I was gonna meet later. This is like they're evaluating me or something. So Vegas tournament is done, and go home, and I can't wait to play again, of course, to figure out all the stuff that I got beat down with and everything. So it's 95 going to, this is going to like later 95 now, and I heard word that Alpha 2 is coming out. And what a transition of games that I'm coming up in that I'm like extremely hungry about. You know, like I'm playing with people that go to these big tournaments that have a mindset of like, if I lose, I'm garbage. You know, I was like, damn. So, you know, I'm listening to all that, and I have like a lot of pressure. Like, just how can I perfect my game in a way where um, I can't be stopped? So, yeah, I pretty much hit that lab, which was the arcade. I would play. I would. I would have goals. I would like bring $1 to the arcade, and that's it. And if I lose, I'd have to go home and I can't come back, or you know, and stuff like that. Some little crap like that to kind of hype myself up because, like, I mean, you go to your arcade, you don't really lose anyways. So it's more of it's kind of like a mental preparedness thing. So um, so yeah, Alpha 2 came out and like just it was very easy transition for me to get like pull results for that game. And you know, Mike and you know, Mike lives in LA, which is an hour from me. I live in Orange County. So if you guys don't know this California geography, that so it's just like think of LAX, all right, and then SoCal Regionals is in Irvine, so it's about an hour drive. Watson was obviously closer to LAX. I'm way down here, so he's not gonna go to my arcade all the time, and you know, I'm not gonna go up there. You know, I would have to find rides and all this stuff too. So we didn't practice like too much on Alpha 2 in the early stages, but we played mainly near tournaments, and this is where finally I was starting to go to Southern Hills Golfland, and Watson has already been winning some Alpha 2 tournaments there, and I was kind of late on the bus and finally joined my first one. And I think he mentioned one time before in a past interview that there was which event made him think that like you know, or which was like a most notable event for him, and he brought up the time where I beat him at the Southern Hills Golfland tournament. And you know, that was, I can actually tell you exactly what was memorable because this is the dude that you couldn't beat at all, to like somebody that was been mentoring you kind of like on the side, well, not really, because he wants to stay on top. So in that tournament when I played him, I was Ken and he was Charlie, and and the last round, and I needed a comeback of some sorts. I didn't do the or the custom combo stuff yet. I just walked up to him and did level 3 super. Scrubby, right? Not really, because I actually knew his defensive pattern with Charlie after like getting up to that last round, and he always pushed like crouching strong twice, or crouching forward, and just I started to remember these patterns that people show me, and I thought it was the best opportunity. And like I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go all in, knowing that he's gonna push a button. I knew he was gonna do it, and lo and behold, I did level 3. Was it show you rep on? And I win. But I mean, you would think, okay, that's really scrubby. It's like, oh, walk up super. But I mean, you gotta understand too that to get to him in grand finals and stick it out the entire way, the matches didn't always go like that. You know, I won convincingly or he won convincingly. But the tides have seriously changed from then on. From then on, I never lost an Alpha 2 tournament, at least in Southern California. I just started to just dissect everybody's game just by like patterns, and it was. Oh, I'm getting a little message. Might be a little low. Let me turn it up a little bit. Sorry, guys. All right, is this a little bit better? Story time. I hope you guys are enjoying this story. Oh, it's louder? Okay. All right, sweet. All right, thanks for still tuning in. But yeah, so where was I? I'm dissecting people's games now. Now everybody is playing how I want them to play. Like I was seeing things that look so obvious to me. I like in my head I'm like, why would you do that? Like I would start thinking like, why would you do that? Why would you do that? And then I think back like, man, all the things that Watson did to me in Alpha One. I was like, did I not want? Am I not making them play the game how I want them to play? You know, or am I? You know, I'm asking all these questions like, how is it this easy now? In my head, what happened? Like, did everybody suck, or like, am I that good, or what's going on? You know, this is too easy. Um, and I just not just like the top players that I was starting to beat more often. Just anybody that would give me a hard time back in the days. And this is even still before I figured out the custom combo trick. And it's just my ground game really developed, and I just never paid attention to it because it started to turn into second nature. You know, just reacting to things that I see, mannerisms, just the player archetype. You're a defensive player, offensive player, all this stuff. And I'm just somebody that wants to win tournaments. You know, I'm not really focused on the main strategy part. It's just I just see everything now. You know, it's like how like Neo looks at the Matrix, right? And he just like deciphers everything. Yeah, I had quite a few of those moments. Like I thought that there was no way anybody can beat me in this game. And maybe some of that mentality came from Watson because he told me like if you lose this is before Battle by the Bay, by the way. He's like, don't lose to the enemy, man, and especially don't make friends with the enemy because that will make your game soft. And you gotta remember, I'm like the happy-go-lucky guy. So I took his advice into consideration as much as I could. But yeah, winning Alpha 2 tournaments was a breeze for me in SoCal. You know, there was no challenge whatsoever. The game suited my style perfectly. And going into Battle by the Bay, well, even actually, Battle by the Bay was, now that I think of it, the second alt AGSF2 tournament that I've been to. You know, I just got mind blown because of the Karapi site. If Bob Painter, because I assume he went to the Alt Game SF2 site, which was a news group site that posts anything that's going on with like Street Fighter. Okay, and I didn't even know that existed until like '97 or something, late '97. And so the first Vegas tournament was one of those events, and the second event was more of like a international internet gathering, and it was organized by the Evo founders, Tom and Tony Cannon. So shoutouts to them. And they really wanted to find out who are the best players, no matter where they came from. And we're still in our little box. Okay, we're thinking of United States. We're not really thinking of, at least me and Watson and them, we're really weren't thinking of like Japan and Korea and all the other countries. Yeah, this is, internet is new. So yeah, Battle by the Bay, meeting Choi for the first time. Well, it was just again like I breezed through the tournament up to reaching Choi, and Choi had a style where I gave him way too much credit, I believe. Like, as far as, not credit, but like, I respected his game too much. You know, I wanted to play how I normally play, as Extreme Rushdown, if you see it. But there's vids that I'm going to actually go through when I go to the Footsie section. But there is a lot of things that I had to hold back. That term, save that shit for nationals, was very popular then. I didn't want to show people my custom combo trick yet unless I absolutely had to. Yeah, it sounds gimmicky, but knowledge is power, right? Because everybody had some craziness to beat you with. So I got to Choi for the first time, and with Ken, Ken, and I kind of noticed that this is after tournament, too, that I analyzed this, but I knew that I might have a harder time with Ken because he has a lot of Ken experience, and I don't really see any Ryu players in the tournament, so I was taking notice of that. And Ryu was actually ended up to be my best character. Ken was the character I won the most SoCal tournaments with, but Ryu was the overall my overall best character until the Zangief era. But yeah, uh, and it was right. Like I had a lot of trouble playing a Ken mirror match with Choi, and he had a more of a finesse execution style. He would not take risks. Um, he just play very conservatively. It's not really all turtle-ish because he does rush down when he gets an opportunity to, but he made me work really really hard. Played more defensive than Watson when Watson wants to play defensive, so it was a real challenge for me. So then I had to pick Ryu, and then that's exactly when I started to do the custom combo trick, which is activate custom if your opponent is standing and they're within sweep range, they cannot block the blowout of the crouching roundhouse hitbox. If that made any sense. So pretty much you can't block if you're standing near activation of Alpha 2 custom combo. Yeah, that's really cheap, right? And I figured out that custom trick with Dan, by the way, at a pool hall. Shout outs to Tao for helping me figure that out. But anyways, yeah, and I put Choi into losers. Choi was the most winningest NorCal player at the time, and he an amazing player, man. He still is today. He was telling I think Tom or Tony, or Tom or Tony was telling him like, "Hey, you should. Man, what are you doing? Block that." And John's all, "I can't." and so they got that knowledge, right? And guess what John does? He uses it against me. Oh man, John. So it was an epic battle between me and him, and that really, it was pretty much playing him for like an hour straight or so. It was crazy because he ran it back, he reset the bracket, and it went up to all the way to the end, and I had to bust out another like gimmick on him, pretty much like a character that does like one of the most damage, well at least at the time, for a crouching custom combo. But I'll get into that another time. That's a story for another day. But what that taught me versus Choi is that no matter how good like I thought I was, I still am going to meet people like that are gonna be roadblocks. You can truly be the best player in the world, right, or the best player in the country, but there are people that are gonna give you that much of a hard time, still, and it just takes just the smallest little thing to mess up your entire game, and you can't beat them for some reason, even though you're probably a better player overall, but. Yeah, that's kind of what I learned from there, and the rest was history with me and Choi. I mean, that was pretty much my rival for Alpha 2. Watson always put up some good matches, but Choi put in the time, I think more time in that game than Watson did, so he was obviously a harder rival for me to deal with. And this is now finally, like, I played in Vegas, and I played in NorCal. Okay, I don't really consider. Well, it's kind of messed up for me to say, but going to Vegas isn't too much of a like traveling out of state. It's only 4 hours away, and NorCal was like 6 hours away, right? So I guess like traveling even deeper into the woods is when I first met up with. Actually, I got an invitation from. Jason Wilson, and before I go into that story, before I go into that story, one sec. We will be right back. I'm gonna take a little break. I need a little, a little drink of water, man. It's a lot of talking. I'll be right back. All right, I am back. So, yeah, we're still at history time with Alex Valle. Uh, so, John and I get an invitation from Jason Wilson, and this was a little bit after Battle by the Bay happened, which took place in Sunnyvale Golfland in 1996. And this invitation was to go to a tournament called the Midwest Championships. Now, Watson has been there already, and I didn't know then. I didn't know that he was over there like in 1994. You know, this is pretty crazy. Man, Watson really got around back then. But yeah, shout outs to him. And I was like, okay, cool. You know, this is awesome. And he's saying like, yeah, you can get these standby tickets for like $25. I'm like, standby tickets to go to Chicago? I'm $25. I'm there. You know, this is cheaper than driving to Las Vegas and back. It's a no-brainer. I'm in there. This story is funny. And so, if you guys know what a standby ticket, you guys kind of already tell where this is leading up to. So this is around the time where Street Fighter 3 is out now, and Choi and I are still like Choi was actually the best player at the time for that game. I was, I guess, the best in SoCal. He was the best in NorCal, and it showed. We had a tournament in Southern Hills Golf, and he won that one. It was just me and him in the finals. But moving on to this Midwest Championships tournament. So I get to John Wayne Airport, it's the closest airport to me, and I'm like, hey, I'm here, I checked in and everything. Yeah, you're on standby, so you're gonna have to wait till if there's any more room in the in the plane. I'm like, okay, all right, whatever. I don't really fly much, but sure. And so I'm with my friend Mark at the time. His handle was Flipmain. If you guys remember who he is. He's also one of the guys I used to spar with, Tao and Watson and them, old school guy. But yeah, we wait, all right, and luckily there's room, and we flew, and the connecting flight was in Arizona, I believe. Yes, that was in Arizona. And mind you, I just beat John in Battle by the Bay, right? And so we kind of still we don't really have a relationship or anything yet. We're kind of like, oh, hey, it's you from the tournament. That's that. So I see him, in the connecting flight. I see him at the payphone. I'm actually kind of excited to see him. I'm like, hey, John, what's up, man? And he's looking at me from a payphone, looking at payphone. We used payphones back then, and a phone book. and I'm getting closer. He's not saying what's up yet. He's just like nodding his head, and he's just like looks worried. And I'm like, what the hell's going on? And he's all, Alex, I'm trying to find a flight back home. All the flights to Chicago are completely booked. There is no room. I'm sick of this. I just want to go home. And I'm like, what the hell? Really? I mean, is there anything else we can do? And he's all, no, I don't know. This is ridiculous. And John, I'm just starting to get to know the guy, and we eventually like kind of just sat down. I was like, hey, let's just try to find another flight somewhere, and hopefully we can get there. Right? And he goes, okay, and we found a flight going to Vegas, and I have a friend in Vegas, it was APOC, the guy I just talked about, that pick us up, and the next flight that's leaving from Vegas to Chicago would be at like close to midnight, so we had enough time to go kick it and do whatever. And APOC took us to it was a Mary Kay's arcade. So, anyways, that arcade was great, and I played John like freaking many games to practice up, and then we got back and we found out that the flight was booked again, but it was nuts. We were frustrated, and I think after that we tried to hit up Colorado, and I think his sister was at Colorado, or was it? It's Colorado, and so we stayed at his sister's house because she was going to med school or something. I probably botched up the story somewhere there. It was a long time ago, but we stayed at her house for one day, and then finally found a flight from Colorado to Chicago, and we were a day late. And I think I have, yeah. I got there we go. If you guys can see. Who's this lovely beast? I know he's watching too. John Choi, Super Just Games, back in the day. Yeah. Sorry I couldn't have time to scan all this stuff. This is old school stuff, man. But yeah, at that tournament, there was I think it was a Street Fighter 3. John won that tournament. I think it won Alpha 2. I still wasn't, doing any damage at all at like Super Turbo or anything. I was crap in those games, and we'll get to that soon, because my story time is about to end, because we gotta move it along to the next sections. We thought like, man, we could travel to these tournaments now. It's like people aren't really in our level, like we just started to figure out that maybe going to other events is probably really a good idea, and it's really fun. But yeah, John and I kind of like, since we've been trapped in the airports for like a few days, we got to know each other, and we're chill, and the rest was history with her. I actually broke one of Watson's rules, making friends with the enemy, and that's what happened. But we started traveling, and it was not just me and John. It was me, John, and Watson. We would travel to the East Coast and the Midwest to various tournaments, and you can check on Karapi.com, and like all the events like Choi or Watson and I have been, and we would take top 3 in all of our respective games, and the newer games I would take first, and Choi or Choi and Watson would pretty much beat up all the old ones, and Choi too. They would get like first and second. It got to the point where people kind of like booed us. They're like, "Oh, you guys are in grand finals, boo!" and all this stuff. And man, those are the fun times. But we'll save those story times for another day. But the real point I want to get all this stuff out is because it really developed me as a player to this is what I wanted to do. Like I want to see like how good I can play these games, like Street Fighter predominantly, and finding out that there's a community out there that has the same type of passion, and I'm not the only one. There's a lot of people like that out there, and I fell in love with the scene. I met great people, and that on top of like the people and you know being good at the game is just. I mean, come on. I was like, what? This is like the best thing ever. So moving along to, you know, where. Oh, so I'm getting called left and right. But moving along to like today, uh, though that's like you can tell it's my climb to my prime. Okay, and I really can't thank enough for all like even the tournament organizers back then and the players that you know really rooted me on or gave me a quarter to help me finish the tournament. Uh, you know they really inspired me to like um, to visit them again or see new people or you know just really treat it as like family, you know like but I didn't really know how to do it yet. That's just I would attend these events and that's hang out and play and then go drink or do what we do, kind of like today, you know, right? But it's um I knew that there was something I needed to do with all this knowledge, and um, you know I can still play the games today. You know, you see that I can pick up any new Street Fighter, and I can probably beat the best players in the world in any given day. That's it's I've already done that. In tournament, that's another story. You know, I'm probably still uh, got a few rivals here and there to beat up, but